Good evening, dear Starseeds. This evening, I would like to speak briefly about the concept of physicality, what our attitude towards the physical world, the material world, should be, and the sometimes struggle between the physical body and the desire or the yearning of the spirit, soul to be reunited with Source. Um, Also, I'll probably talk briefly about how our society, our culture tends to worship physicality, materiality, and how that's really the definition of idolatry. So, I mean, I'd like to begin by saying that physicality, the physical world, the material world, is not in and of itself bad. It is actually necessity if our souls are to develop, are to learn from experience, because experience can only be had in the physical body. So I think that's an important foundation to lay before moving on to talk about how physicality is often abused and misused in our culture and society. So the foundation is that physicality is not bad in and of itself. It's certainly not evil in and of itself. But the attachment to physical things, to the body, to possessions, to money itself, that attachment to the physical world, materiality, is then what leads to ignorance or an increase in ignorance rather than an alleviation of it and a loss of self and ego leading towards spiritual awakening. All right, so our society, our culture tends to be materialistic to the extreme, I would say, in Western society. And this is a form of idolatry. It's a form of bondage that keeps our attention away from the spiritual path and from practices that would lead to spiritual enlightenment. So we have to always keep in mind that the body, physical reality around us, while not bad in and of itself, can easily become an attachment that affects us negatively in our spiritual growth. This is particularly true, I believe, of two things. The first is money, an attachment to money, and the making of said money. It's certainly true that um, one must have enough money to even be in a comfortable enough state to begin focus on um, higher level questions about reality and to meditate, things like that. There has to be a certain level of material comfort. I shouldn't say has to be, but it makes it a whole lot easier if there is that material comfort from which to work on spiritual things. Money in and of itself, just like physicality in and of itself, is not bad. It's the love of money that is that root of all evil, greed, selfishness, the desire for more and more and more when it's simply not necessary. Um, I've said in other videos, I could live very lavishly if I wanted to. I have the money to do that, but I don't care about it. It's not an attachment for me. Um, no physical thing is an attachment for me anymore. Having reached enlightenment, I am free of all attachments. Um, but so money, not bad in and of itself, but the love of it certainly is. And also the body in a sexual way. Um, we teach at StarSeed Community, and I certainly teach that pornography of all kinds really is not to be allowed in our community, certainly not to be watched by members of our community. Because what pornography does is it objectifies the body. It doesn't see the body as a vehicle for soul. It doesn't see the body as a tool for experience leading towards spiritual awakening. What pornography does is it completely materializes existence, objectifies the object or the objects in the video or the picture or what have you. So we are certainly anti pornography because we are anti objectification. Each of us has that divine spark within. Each of us is inherently worthy. And there should not be that objectification that happens with the physical body, just as there should not be with money. Um, and I do go so far as to teach a certain kind of celibacy. Those who are married, those who are partnered in our community, they may have sexual relations occasionally, but it is occasional. It's not an everyday thing, maybe not even an every week thing, because the primary focus is on spirit and not letting those other attachments, however pleasant they may be, to keep us from spiritual growth and spiritual awakening. And so I just wanted to kind of briefly explain the view that I have, the truth really of uh, what physical existence is for, and the fact that it's not inherently, intrinsically evil, but that it's here for us to learn lessons for spiritual growth, really, to increase the soul's knowledge and experience, to eventually reunite with Source. Um, So, in my coaching, in my ministering to members of the StarSeed community, people have often asked, what do those communications look like in a general sense? And it is a lot of me knowing that person, knowing that member, and their true needs, what they truly need for their spiritual development, leading to awakening and enlightenment. So it is, in many cases, a list of do this, don't do this, don't do this so many times in this way, etc. Right? It's a list of routines to institute, spiritual practices to be begun that are for the primary purpose of that member's spiritual awakening and spiritual enlightenment in this incarnation. It's it's a very serious thing, right? So when it comes to things of a physical nature, many times I will advise members on certain money situations or on relationship or sexual relationship type situations, what they can and cannot do, when they can and cannot do it. Right? And this is solely for the benefit of that member and their spiritual growth and spiritual awakening. And so we take physical existence very seriously, but we recognize it as in service to spiritual existence and spiritual reality. May the Holy Spirit completely envelop you with her compassion.